The fact that Russia intends to place tactical nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus was stated by Vladimir Putin. According to him, this was agreed on with the self-proclaimed president of Belarus, Lukashenka.
10 aircraft are ready to use this type of weapon. We have already handed over to Belarus our well-known, very effective Iskander complex. It may also use it. We start training crews on April the 3rd, and we will finish the construction of a special storage facility for tactical nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus on July the 1st.
Although Putin claims that this will be done without violating the nuclear non-proliferation regime and Belarus will not gain control over nuclear charges, such a decision still negates the security guarantees from the nuclear club for Belarus and undermines the principles of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons.
Режим Лукашенко, который правит в Беларуси,
The Lukashenko's regime, which is in Belarus, has become an accomplice of the aggressor country Russia and is responsible for participating in the war against Ukraine. In this regard, there can be no security guarantees for the Lukashenko's regime in principle.
In addition, the deployment of nuclear weapons in Belarus will make this country even more dependent and controlled by the Kremlin.
Беларусь становится заложником.
Belarus becomes not only a hostage of the Lukashenko's regime, but also Russia and the Putin's regime. God forbid! Of course, there is the biggest danger if Putin tries to use nuclear weapons against NATO countries, because then a retaliatory strike will be carried out on the territory of Belarus. This must be understood. Therefore, these criminal decisions are made by the regimes of Putin and Lukashenko, but the Belarusian people may suffer from them.
According to Putin, the reason for this decision was the UK desire to supply tank shells with depleted uranium to Ukraine. However, the British Defense Ministry has repeatedly stated that these shells have nothing to do with nuclear weapons. Moreover, it follows from Putin's interview that the missile system was handed over to Belarus even before the British statement, as were the converted aircraft. Construction of the vault apparently also began before London's plans were known.
The usage of this material is due to the fact that it demonstrates higher armor penetration than, for example, tungsten. Depleted uranium is used not only in military equipment, it is also used in the production of, for example, civil aviation, for the material of counterweights in an aircraft such as Boeing 747. It has nothing to do with nuclear weapons. That is, its radioactivity is lower than the radioactivity of the uranium ore itself.
The White House said there was no indication that Moscow was planning to use its nuclear weapons, and the EU reported that they were ready to respond with new sanctions to Russia's intentions to deploy nuclear weapons in Belarus.
Belarus hosting Russian nuclear weapons must mean an irresponsible escalation and threat to European security. Belarus can still stop it, it is their choice. The EU stands ready to respond with further sanctions. Josep Borrell, High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, on Twitter.
Such a statement by Putin means that Russia is violating the agreements with China on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, reached during Xi Jinping's recent visit to Moscow. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China commented on Russia's intention to deploy tactical nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus. Beijing did not approve of this decision.
Last January, the leaders of the 5 nuclear powers issued a joint statement reaffirming that a nuclear war cannot be won and never waged. They stressed the importance of preventing war between nuclear weapon states and reducing strategic risks. Under the current circumstances, all parties need to focus on diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict in Ukraine peacefully and work together to improve the situation.
The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry called on the G7 states and the EU to warn the Belarusian authorities of the consequences if they agree to deploy Russian tactical nukes on their territory. Ukraine also called for the immediate convening of an extraordinary meeting of the UN Security Council and appealed to the Belarusian people to prevent the realization of Putin's criminal intentions. Reported by Diana Kulesnik, Yulia Bil, UATV News.